Get ready for a beautiful journey. It's Friends Day Fridays on Tea Time with Afternoon Social. We're steeping tales of fun stuff from adventure stories to tips and advice, one cup at a time. So grab your favorite tea, snuggle into your coziest nook, and join our terrific party. Good afternoon and welcome back to Tea Time with Afternoon Social. I'm Teresa Lauterbach, your host, and today we welcome Saloni Surah, who is joining us from England, and we had a great conversation with her on Triumphant Thursdays yesterday. So if you haven't seen that episode, go back and check that out. Saloni holds a doctorate in HIV and drug use. Dr. Surah is also an HIV and sexual health consultant. She is a published children's author. Her first book is Fiona Investigates the Case of Missing Gold Eggs. And she's got a couple of more books coming up. Additionally, she has an active interest in meditation and self-development and other healing modalities, and works as a spiritual coach. And today here on Friends Day Friday, she's going to tell us more about joy in the darkness and chat a little bit about her hobbies and interests and how they brought her joy in order to face life's challenges. So hi, Saloni. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? It's lovely to be here.
Great. And is it a little rainy? Did you say that today? A little cold?
It's what, sorry?
Is it a little rainy and cold, you said today?
Oh, yes. I mean, it was nice earlier. I managed to make it out into town, but the rain came, So we flipped seasons. It's been very wet. Was out the other day and got totally soaked. So how is it there?
So not only is there darkness in the life that you need to bring out joy, but also darkness in the season, isn't it?
Yes, funnily enough, yes, it is, isn't it? We're properly into wintering and holding on to that light and joy. Absolutely, yes. It's funny because for me, for a long time, I didn't have the space to do the creative interest. My medical career and life had taken over so much. It's not just you think, oh, med school and that's it, but there's exams and nights and it's just endless, really. So really for me, that space opened up when I did my PhD in 2010 on HIV and drug use. Now, you might be sitting there going, that's crazy because it's a PhD on HIV and drug use. And what I did for that, it was a health economics PhD. So I was costing developing a clinic in a methadone clinic, doing HIV care down there that I used to run, and looking at the quality of life. And I looked after a lot of poverty and illiteracy and, a lot of people who'd gone through a lot, sexual abuse, sexual trauma, had grown up with, drug using parents. I've looked after people from all over, so I'm fairly unshockable. But that gave me the time to start doing other things. And one of them was to write and creatively write. I started writing a couple of books, did some writing groups and paid for feedback, went to agents. So, here we are. For me, it's a really beautiful moment 13 years later that I've actually published, because there were times when I didn't think it was going to happen and times that I had given up on me and on that. And I'm going to show you a picture of my it's my fourth book, but it's actually my first book, Fiona Investigates the Case of the Missing Gold Eggs. There's a little bit of a story about this. It's a book set in Florence. My husband is Italian and he's from Florence. And my mother-in-law used to keep chickens. I don't know whether you can see the chickens and the eggs there. Yeah. When we got together, one of them went missing, and there was a joke that there'd been a murder in the back garden, and we went back to Florence. He took me back to Florence to visit. I think it was the next year or later in the year. Anyway, I met the friends, the neighbours, the parrots, the cats, the dad's cousin who'd been a hunter, and the story brewed. So Flora was a detective and she was looking for a gold egg laying chicken. And, she gets to fly on a boat. So the question is, would you prefer a gold egg or to fly on a boat? It's really, though, a book about a girl who has a dream. and who reaches for her dream. You know, she wants to be a famous detective, but she's a girl. So who wants to employ a girl as a detective? So she sets up her own agency and she finds the case, and she battles a pirate who loves eating cheese and dances and flies, and a hunter and a neighbour who has a lot of cats. But she's a girl reaching for her dreams and facing her fears in the process. You know, it's a scary thing to climb up onto a flying boat. And I wanted to inspire, because I'd looked after so much ill health and poverty. I saw firsthand that relationship with a mind-body connection, and how a lot of the individuals that I was looking after, you know, were the best one in the world. Their lives were not going to change. And, you know, they had grown up in such terrible conditions. And, you know, it wasn't going to change. So really, for me, it was about inspiring children and, you know, getting them to believe that they can do anything, because they can. I also, on my social media, do read loud. So I read other people's books and bits of my books on there, because, again, I've looked after a lot of people who weren't able to read and write. And I just think it's so important for children to be read to. And there might be some children out there who don't have anyone reading to them. I also have teenagers listen to them sometimes, saying they listen to it before bed. They find it relaxing, and adults, you know. So I do that. You know, sometimes we don't have a TV in our house. So, you know, for me, putting them listening to a book is much better, you know, if I want to go and do something.
Right.
So there's writing. There's my second book will be coming out in February. That's a older age group, but it's about a fairy, forbidden friendship between a fairy and a human girl, when the fairy forest at risk. And it's really a story about having your wings clipped and power of forgiveness. And I also paint. So I did this course when I was pregnant with my son. It's called Vedic Art, and it's about it was beautiful. It's, you know, because I always thought, oh, you have to be an amazing painter to paint, and it's about getting the inner intuition out and just painting, you know. And it was really beautiful. So I did that, and I carried on painting. Now I don't get so much time nowadays, but I'm just going to show you two that I did. This is my hope painting.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. And, you know, funnily enough, I started this about 2 years ago. I didn't do the back bit. And then probably a couple of months ago, it might have been last month, I picked it up and thought, I'm going to finish this off. I knew I wanted it to be hope. I realised afterwards, I was looking through my paintings, that I was painting my emotions. So I've got a grief one somewhere, and I never liked looking at it. And I looked at it about 2-3 months ago and went, oh, that's my grief. That's what I painted there. So this is hope. And I hope it gives you hope today and makes you smile. And this is another one. It's not quite as cheery as that one. Heart lines. I don't think it's quite finished yet, but I'm not sure when I'm going to pick it up. So that's what I do.
That's really intriguing. It just makes you. There's got a lot of different things to think about in that one.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I posted it on one of my social media, and people were saying they could see lips and this, that, and the other. I like my dots, but I might leave it at that, or I might come back to it. It might come back to it in a couple of months or years. So sometimes that's the case. I don't have a huge amount of space to paint at the moment, but you know, I love it when I do. One of the other things that I find great, and it's a technique that anybody can do, is something that I learned in the Vedic art, and it's called lines. And it's getting a piece of paper, a couple pieces of paper, 2 pencils, closing your eyes, setting a timer, and just drawing lines on a piece of paper. And it's amazing for clearing your mind and for opening up that creativity. So it's something that you can do that you don't require a lot of tools and space and all of that stuff for.
Right. And a lot of people say, oh, I can't draw, or I can't paint or anything, but you can doodle. And those lines are like doodling. And
yes, absolutely. So it's one I'm sharing a lot at the moment, just because I think it's something that's so simple and easy. And anything that's simple and easy that might help somebody, then great. Yeah.
Right. And I think that connection, that eye-pencil connection, really opens up a lot of doors in your mind. that, like I said, you get out of your head.
Absolutely. So, like, it's good. I try to do it before I write, just to clear my mind of all the things of I've got to do this, I've got to get that, I've got to do this for the kids, that for the kids, washing, ironing. It's a really good thing to do before sitting down to be creative, just where you clear that mundaneness so you can, write or paint. And for me, writing really is escaping. I love magic. I have a funky imagination. It's escaping from the mundaneness of everyday life, but I'm also somebody that loves transformation and loves to inspire and loves to see people transform and do better, and to see people be what they can be. And so I write about powerful themes. Like the next book is about bullying and having your wings clipped, which happens to us all at some point in life. And what if that didn't happen, and how could we get that back, and how could we get a voice? And then how powerful is forgiveness? Doesn't mean you let the same people do the same, but it means you let it go.
Right, and clear your heart, because you don't need to carry on all that bitterness and hatred or anything else, which adds to fear. And, and so if you can let go of that basic stuff, that really helps. So.
Absolutely. So these have been really important tools for me the last few years, and they're things that make me happy. What I really want to do all day is write and look after my children, play with the children, paint, and inspire children and help them believe and know that they can do anything, and they deserve to live their dreams. And hopefully there's plenty of people telling them that, but if there's not, then at least I'm telling them that they can live their dreams and that they deserve it and that they are good enough.
Yeah. I was thinking about also that how you said you get to escape and things. That I learned to read when I was 4. So I've always escaped into mystery stories. Yes, that was I had an illness for like 3 months, and my mother wouldn't let me out of bed. It was rheumatic fever. She wanted to make sure I didn't have any heart problems. Yeah. So instead of just a 4-year-old living in bed for 3 months, how difficult that was.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how she did it. I don't think I'd be able to keep mine in bed. But it's a wonderful gift, isn't it, to escape in a book? And for me, I so rarely get the time, but when I get that time, I cherish it. It's beautiful to escape in the book. And, your version of what you see of somebody's book is your version of it,
right?
And that's beautiful in itself.
Yeah, because it gives you more of that imagination. Like you said, get away from the TV. You can actually try to picture things in your mind and not be shown something of how it's supposed to be. So,
and that itself is beautiful, because we're all different and we all see things differently. And at the moment, my fairy book is with the illustrator and the editor, and I was really excited with that about the collaboration, to see what the illustrator comes back with, and then to see how we mesh together and make the illustrations real. And what she's envisioned some of the characters is totally different to mine, even though we've written the same thing, and some of it's been hers, some of it's been mine, some of it's we've amalgamated it, and that's actually really exciting. I was really looking forward to seeing how she saw some of the characters, and to see, I've got this lovely illustrator, Charlie Wilcock, and she just fell in love with my book, with the fairies, which for me was such a beautiful thing. That's why you write books, and I love reading children's books. So I would read my own book. I've read kids' books this age, younger and older. For me, it's just about magic and disappearing.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience with today?
No, I just, like I say, I write and paint to inspire and to help others. And, I enjoy it, but it's also for me to help others. Yes. So, for children to know that they can dream and dreams can come true. And, I hope it does come true for them and for all of you.
Well, thank you so much. We've had a great time again today with Saloni. And knowing that we need to tap into our imaginations and things to bring us joy and get out of that darkness. And especially when we're talking about escaping, we don't really notice the weather outside as much when we're escaping in our imaginative worlds.
Absolutely.
So join us again tomorrow on Show and Tell Saturdays, and she's going to share with us a bit more about her books and her coaching services and some of the things that she offers. And of course, I'm going to be leaving all of her information in the comments below. So thank you again, Saloni, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.